Okay, so when the pictures leaked out about this reel several months ago, I took a look at them and I thought to myself, wow, I'm definitely going to get that reel. But as more information came out about its specifications and I realized which reel it was based off of, I kind of had doubts and second thoughts about buying it. But since I'm a sucker for a pretty paint job, here we go. The Abu Garcia Revo Ike. And as you can see, even the box has a pretty paint job. Now, I haven't opened the actual box, but I did take it out of the packaging box. Now, I will tell you guys that I bought this off of eBay. They're going for a pretty steep discount over MSRP. And I do know that a lot of retailers on eBay will purchase what I call factory rejects, meaning that a lot of these reels that you buy off eBay at these steep discounts didn't pass the final, factory inspection to go on sale, I guess, at regular cost. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't work. I mean, they're perfectly functional, but a lot of them will have like blemishes in the paint job or something that didn't make them pass the company's quality control inspection. So I hope that's not the case with this one. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, so Revo Iaconelli. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of Mike Iaconelli. I'm more of an Aaron Martens fan, but how can you pass up a reel that looks like this? Okay, wait a minute, am I missing a piece of tape? Nope, here we go. Let's see how this thing is packaged. Okay, so it's got the foam, just like a lot of Abu Garcias. Alright, here we go. Let's take a look at this thing. Wow, I'm getting excited. It's got that chameleon effect. Let me move this box over, but let's see what else comes in the box. With Abu Garcias, you get oil. And all the paperwork is underneath this second piece of foam. But we don't care about that. I'm gonna put this off to the side, even though the box is pretty to look at. But we're gonna take a look at this reel. Give you guys a good look at this. As I said before, it's got this chameleon effect where it's blue, purple, and I would say almost a greenish tint depending on what angle you look at it from. Alright guys, so now that you've got a good look at it, I am going to give it my usual inspection for details and quirks, and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, I just got finished with one of the quicker inspections that I've ever done on this channel, and it was pretty quick because I've done this inspection before with the reel that the Revo Ike is based off of, and that of course is the Revo STX. So, from what I learned, the specifications are pretty much exactly the same as the STX. But for those of you who don't know what they are, let's go over them real quick. Now, the reel actually costs $50 more than the Revo STX. This retails for $249. And just like the STX, it has the X2 Craftic aluminum frame and aluminum handle side plate. So this is aluminum as well. And this side plate, the palming side plate, is their C6 carbon. Now it's got 11 bearings, 10 ball bearings and 1 roller bearing, just like the STX. And it's got the oversized D2 gear housed in this huge gearbox here. And the gear itself is their DuraGear brass gear. So it's got a monster brass gear in this gearbox. Now it only comes in 2 ratios, unlike the STX. It comes in a 6.6, and then the super high speed 8-to-1, which is what I have. Now it's got the customary Doyo lube port. It's got the titanium coated line guide. Now disappointingly, it's not a bigger line guide, or it's not tapered like a cone. It's just a standard small line guide. And I wish they would have gave it something more special. Now it's got the Everslick coated pinion, shaft, and pawl. It's got the same IV CB6L brakes. And it's got Abu Garcia's highest rated level drag, which is their PowerStack Carbon Matrix drag. So basically it's got a key drag washer, I should say washers, along with carbon fiber washers to give this thing up to 24 pounds of drag. So yeah, that's basically it. The basic specifications are exactly the same as the Revo STX. So let's go over what's different. What do you get for your extra 50 bucks? So I'm gonna put this over here. Of course, the obvious difference is this stunning chameleon effect paint job. Now, when I was playing with this under the light, I counted about 4 different colors in there. You got your, blue and purple. Then you got your kind of turquoise green, which pops up sometime depending on what angle you have this at. And you've even got some hints of gold you can see if you turn it just right. So this is a slick paint job. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what it looks like in sunlight, because I know the light in here is not going to do this thing justice. Now you get a carbon fiber handle now instead of the aluminum handle, and it's still 90 millimeters and still swept, as you can see. Right here you can see the other big change is it includes these power style knobs. As you can see, they gave it a lot of nice purple accented trim. You can see the end caps have the dots that Abu Garcia likes to use. It's also on the other side of the knob as well. And I can tell you this much, these knobs, the EVA on them, feels a lot better than the STX. The STX feels hard and rough. So these may be a higher density EVA foam. And of course the drag star is metal and it clicks. And you also get the spool tension that has purple accents now and a lot more detailing. It's got the same Abu Garcia logo. It still clicks. But as expected, the clicks are not as precise or as positive feeling as the clicks on a Daiwa or even a Shimano reel that has a clicking spool tension. But it's got extra porting there and extra decoration, those dots. And then also you got the trim on the gearbox is now all black. It's got Mike Iaconelli's signature, and then his logo, Never Give Up. Now I believe this is probably still made in Korea as well. So yeah, that's basically what you get. I didn't see any kind of extra literature about anything different. I was hoping this would have, you know, better spool bearings for better casting. I didn't see anything about that. It's kind of disappointing. Oh yeah, and the spool, of course, you get purple trim. Now turning the handle, it's smooth enough, it's still geary, but Revos were never, you know, that smooth anyway, in my opinion. They don't have the air rotation like the Daiwas have, and they don't have the X-ship or micro module gearing that Shimano's have, but it's smooth enough. Now one thing that I didn't like about the Revo STX was the brakes are a little finicky, but the casting ergonomics kind of threw me off, and I figured out what it was. And it was the thumb bar. So the thumb bar is a little mushy to begin with, but my problem was with this Revo STX, especially when doing the distance contest with the lipless crank, I tend to put a lot of pressure on the thumb bar when I'm casting for distance. And when the thumb bar is pressed, this Revo STX, as you can see, it moves back and forth, so it made me think that it was going to break off. I don't know if you guys can see that movement there. So let's see if that's solved on the Revo Ike. So, still a little bit mushy. There's a little wobble, but not as bad. I can definitely tell it's not moving around like the one on the STX. So maybe that was a one-off on my STX. So that's good. So yeah, those are the main differences. And maybe there's a difference in the spool, because I was hoping that since this is a, you know, special Revo Ike model, maybe they'll give us a lighter spool. So let's pull out the scale and find out. Okay, so I got the scale out. The first thing we're going to do is going to see if the Revo Ike lost weight over the STX because of this carbon handle and these knobs. So the STX, forget what it weighs, but I know it wasn't super light. Okay, right at 7.3 ounces. And keep in mind, you know, it's got an aluminum frame and handle side plate. Okay, so Revo Ike feels about the same. Okay, so the Revo Ike weighs almost 7.6 ounces, so it gained 0.3 of an ounce somewhere, which is kind of strange because allegedly carbon fiber handles are supposed to reduce weight. And as you can see, these knobs on the STX are way bigger, have way more material than on the Revo Ike. So I wonder where that weight gain came from. I know this trim is not ported, but I don't know, that's strange. That's a mystery. Okay, let's get to the moment of truth, and we're going to pop these spools out. As you can see, just like the STX, which I'm going to pull the spool out now, this has the short spool shaft design, which Abu Garcia calls the Infini 2. Now both of them have a bearing, and I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, the spool size on the Revo STX was 33 millimeters, because I was puzzled as to why they went with a smaller spool size. So I'm going to do something real quick. Let's see if this spool will fit directly into the STX. So I'm putting the Ike spool into the STX, and it looks like it's a perfect fit. Yeah, so they are identical in size. And here's a good look at the brakes, the IVCB6L. Now, in the past, with Abu Garcia's centrifugal brakes, all the brakes would fly out. You couldn't turn them off or on. The only thing you could do was turn this dial to move this ring closer or farther away to give you more or less braking. But now with the 6L, you can actually turn on or off as many as you want. Now they seem pretty fragile, just like the Revo STX, but there I just activated one brake, and then if I want to deactivate it, all I do is clip it into place there with that little tab at the end, and it should be locked now. But yeah, that's how the brakes work. Very similar now to Shimano's SPS Infinity, where you get just that extra amount of adjustment, which is very welcome. They're still finicky though. Okay, so let's see if Abu Garcia gave us a lighter spool with the Revo for our extra 50 bucks. So the STX spool weighs in at 16.85, and keep in mind this bearing here weighs about 1.6 grams. Now the Revo Ike 16.96, so it weighs a tenth of a gram more than the Revo STX, which is very disappointing. And I wonder where it gained that weight. I guess purple accents weigh more than silver accents. That's pretty disappointing. So no upgraded bearings on the spool, and a spool that's just a tad bit heavier. Not that it matters, because you know, once dialed in, the Revo STX is a great performer. Just remember to wipe down that brake ring. Okay, so I'm going to put these spools back in, and we'll go over my final thoughts. Okay guys, now before we go into my final thoughts, I wanted to show you guys a couple of things here that I did notice. Now, the badging for the Revo Ike lettering, and it appears that the badging all over the reel seems to be over the gloss. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, which to me that's unfortunate, because since it's over the gloss coating, this thing can be scratched or rubbed off. I don't know how tough it'll be, but that's kind of unfortunate. And also, remember how I told you guys I got this off eBay for a pretty steep discount, and that some eBay retailers, you know, buy the quality control rejects from the companies. Even though the reels are perfectly functional, there may be some kind of a scratch or blemish on the paint. Or now, do you guys see anything wrong with this reel's paint job here? I don't see anything wrong with paint. I don't see any kind of chipping on the anodization, but I think I found out why this thing didn't pass quality control. And maybe some of you sharp-eyed viewers already saw it, but right here, this thing is missing a screw right here. When I saw that, I had to laugh. I should have been mad, but then I realized I got this off eBay at a steep discount, so something more likely had to be wrong with it, and I found out what was wrong. So one screw saved me a ton of money. Now the screw didn't fall out, as you can see. It was just never put there to begin with. So I know Abu Garcia and other companies watch YouTube reviews for their products. So would the Abu Garcia representative who is watching this video please kindly email me and let me know how I can get this screw. I'd appreciate that. Okay, so before we get to my final thoughts, I'm gonna show you guys this. So I decided to show you guys what the Revo Ike looks like under direct sunlight, because luckily the sun decided to come out this weekend, and I hope this camera does it justice. So as you know, I don't have the Revo Ike rods, but I do have this Megabass Hyuga and the purple on it matches up pretty darn good with this Revo Ike. As you can see, I'm shifting around and the color is changing as I'm shifting. It looks purple there. You can see some green, and you can even see a hint of gold sometimes. But I'm hoping this camera will do it justice in the sunlight. Okay guys, now that you've seen the Revo Ike in sunlight, has your opinion of this reel changed much, if any at all? I personally thought it looked super stunning. You really have to see one for yourself under the sun to really appreciate this paint job. So that being said, we find out that the Revo Ike is basically a Revo STX with the different paint job and upgraded handle and knobs. You don't get really much else for your 50 bucks. No lighter spool, no upgraded spool bearings. So is it worth it to me, 250 bucks? Personally, I say yes. Now hopefully if you were one of these guys that gets one, hopefully it'll come with all the screws. But the problem for the Revo Ike is that right at $250, you have this reel here, the mighty Corrado DC. And the Corrado DC, you get the ultra advanced digital braking, you know, micro gears, X-ship, and the proven Corrado design for only 250 bucks. So my opinion of this Corrado has went up greatly since my last video. Now in case you missed it, we found out that the fluorocarbon mode works excellent with fluorocarbon line, and I also dunked the side plate with the computer in the water for 10 seconds to see if it would work after that. So if you didn't catch that video, I'm gonna post a link to it at the end of this video for you to check it out. So leave in the comments for me, which would you guys get for 250 bucks if you had your choice? Would you get the super pretty Revo Ike, a reel that you can take out on dates, take it to the club, show off to all your friends? Or would you get the ultra sophisticated Corrado DC that more than likely is the better performer? So that's a tough call for me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which would you spend your $250 on? And also leave in the comments which reel you think has the better paint job, this Revo Ike or this Revo Elite Aurora with the titanium deposition coating. This is really not a paint job, it's a coating they put on that gives us this rainbow effect. Which do you think looks better? Now for me, hands down, this Revo Aurora looks better than this Revo Ike because it's pretty brilliant under all lights. While the Revo Ike, you kind of have to take it under the sun to get the full effect. But that's just me. A lot of people may not like this overtly flashy finish and want something that's a little more low-key like on this Revo Ike. So yeah, let me know in the comments which has the prettier paint job. Now unfortunately the Aurora is no longer available, so I can definitively say that the Revo Ike is the prettiest reel out on the market today. Okay guys, thanks a lot.